Today on This Old House,
we build a hearth for the wood stove.
Mauro's got a quick fix for the holes in our plaster.
You're gonna use like a 2 or 3 very thin coats.
And we visit the realm of the mechanical maestro.
What happened to all this plumbing here?
I've never seen anything like this before.
There's already rot going on in that trunk.
So what have you found up here?
Well, a bit of a surprise.
It's really the classic plumber's lament.
Nice. This one right here is right on.
Family that paints together stays together. Nice job.
Where will a slab like this be used?
Money's in the detail.
Oh, look at that shit. That is beautiful. Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor and welcome back to This Old House here in Newton, Massachusetts. Last week we started building this flare detail that separates the clapboards on the first floor from the shingles that are going to be going up on the second story. And you can see that it now wraps around this corner and it will continue all the way here to our new addition. And Jason and his guys have started putting the shingles on, and our homeowners, well, they've actually chosen a pre-primed, pre-painted shingle. So it's got a top coat on all 6 sides, and that's going to save him some time and money because when the painter comes back, all he has to do is paint the trim. And our mason, Mark McCullough, is here with a big project. Hey guys, Mark, how are you?
Doing great.
What are you working on here?
This is actually the inside hearth for the wood stove inside.
Oh yeah, and so what's the dimensions on this beauty?
This is a 5x5, but actually we're going to make a chop right here and cut off that corner to make it fit in just right.
And I presume a lot of prep work inside, given its size, the weight, and all that?
That's right. So inside, we did a re-rod grid, connected all the re-rod together, brought in some cement, mixed it right inside, 4 or 5 wheelbarrows, dumped that in, leveled it off. We're going to clip that corner, and then we're going to be ready to go.
Awesome. I'll leave you guys to that.
One, two, three.
Nice and slow.
Yep. Okay, Shane, you're already thinking about your exit.
Watch your fingers.
All right.
Yeah, it's got to be on that.
Keep going.
Strapping. See the strapping? Just get the corner on the strapping.
Okay.
Right, now let it down slowly, guys.
All right.
Slowly.
All right, now drop it in. Okay. All right. Great. Maxwell, pull up a little more. Great. Todd, you're going to want to shake in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great. Nice. Todd, enough here?
A little bit lower.
All right, we want to be a 16th low? Yeah, Kristen, you're looking good right there. Just keep pressure, Shane. Perfect. All we have to do now is cut the straps. Great job, guys.
This front porch has been completely rebuilt, and it's a project we left primarily to our 3 apprentices. Now down below, we've got all new footings and we've got all new framing structure right there. Up top, we've got a new deck that was put down. This is some beautiful straight grain fir that we are protecting. And we replaced the columns. The old ones were rotted and had to come out. We did save the original newel post. The homeowner was attached to this, so it is going back in. And right now, we are working on a new ceiling. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, Kevin.
So what is the plan for the new ceiling here?
So the plan today is we're going to put up some fir beadboard that the
Okay.
homeowner has chosen. They have a lot of options when they're choosing beadboard. They can choose it out of vinyl, PVC, MDF. You can get it in sheets, but we chose to go with a 3-inch by 5/8, pretty traditional fir beadboard.
Yeah, I mean, this is very traditional, right? I mean, this goes back way, way long.
It does go way back. It actually predates the Civil War. It originally was 1-inch strips with quarter-round edges, but now today, to get it done a little faster, we have this stuff here.
And do you know the finish eventually? We're going to paint this? We're going to stain it?
We're not sure yet. We could buy this pre-primed and save ourselves a little bit of time.
Right.
But we're actually going to go just raw, and if they want to finish it later, they can do that.
Okay, well, Austin and Bailey are busy elsewhere, so you're stuck with me. How are we getting started on this project?
Where we're going to start is right here above the door. I already found the center of the casing, and I squared it off the house and snapped the line.
So I can see your blue snap line. It gets picked up on the strapping all the way across.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scrap, and I'm going to tuck it up right into that corner. I'm going to pull it off just a little bit, and that's going to accommodate for the expansion and contraction that the board might go through over the years. I don't want it to rub up against the beam. All right, now I got my line there. Can you pass me the end of your tape? All right. What do you got?
I got 101 and an eighth.
All right, let's transfer that mark to the other side. All right, you got 101 and an eighth?
I do.
All right, let me make my line, and that'll give us a good starting point for our board. All right, Kevin, so I already sighted this board. I want to start with a nice straight one. Go bead down. Now you're gonna pull your end off the wall just a little bit, and I'm gonna put my tongue right to the line we set. That we made. Let's nail it. I'm gonna nail through the tongue because I have the most meat. All right, now nail your side. All right, now let's hit the middles. All right, now on this first one, we actually have the luxury to face nail back here against the beam because we have some bed molding that's gonna cover that. All right, Kevin, let's toss this next piece up. Let's just snug it right in. All right, so it looks like this piece has a little bit of a bow to it. So what we'll do is we'll tack the ends. Then we're gonna push the middle in, nice and tight. All right, let's pull our tape to the chalk line. Check that again.
I've got 14 and 3/4.
All right, that's what I got too. So it's looking pretty good. We're running perpendicular. So what we'll do is we'll keep checking that every 3 or 4 feet. We'll keep it running square, run it all the way to the end, and then we'll come back and put our bed molding up and it'll look pretty nice.
Already looks pretty nice.
Want to tackle all your home improvement projects with confidence? Join This Old House Insider, a new streaming service from This Old House, the iconic Emmy-winning series that inspired a generation of home enthusiasts. Stream over 1,000 episodes of This Old House and Ask This Old House commercial-free. Watch it all in the This Old House app. And join live online Q&As with our experts. Best of all, you can try Insider free for 7 days. To join, go to thisoldhousemembership.com.
Here at our Idea House in South Kingston, Rhode Island, we are getting ready to put on the exterior window trim, and that's really got to stand up to the elements. Now, in the past, we've seen Tommy use some natural materials like cedar or mahogany, as well as some synthetics like PVC. But on this project, our builder actually prefers pine, although it is not your run-of-the-mill pine. Our builder is Jeff Sweenor. He's got a full crew with him as well as an apprentice. Hey guys, good to see you. Good, how are you?
Kevin.
All right, nice to meet you.
You too.
Apprentice?
Apprentice. That's what I say.
Yeah, but also son too, right? So what's it like working for Dad?
Well, it's definitely interesting. The
How long you been doing this?
Been doing this for about 4 years, but been on the job for about 22.
So pretty much your entire life.
Pretty much. Been following them around to the job sites, be running around in the dirt, trying to help out everyone that I could, and from there we went to pushing a broom in the summers, and now I'm kind of in the heat of it, building away.
Cool. How's he doing, Dad?
He's doing good.
Is he?
He's doing good.
So how does that feel, sort of passing it on to the next generation and keeping it in the family?
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. It gives me new inspiration to kind of take it to the next level and continue it. And he's doing good, following the footsteps.
Cool. Great to hear. All right, well, we're going to do some work with you today. And so pine, right? We spent 20 years moving away from pine on the exterior because it kind of peels the paint and it rots.
Yep.
And you're back to it. What's
We're
going
back
on?
to it. When we think of pine, we think of knots, we think of twisting and warping and moisture and
Rotting and throwing the paint off.
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And this pine is basically engineered to outperform any of those problems.
But it is natural, right? We were talking a natural material.
It's a natural material. It's grown in New Zealand. The species is Rhodata, and it's actually farmed. So the process is that they start from saplings and they prune every year until it's fully grown. So that way you don't have any branches. If you don't have any branches, you don't have any knots.
All right. And I see that you got a pile here, so we're talking different sizes, different profiles. I mean, what do you got? You got crown here.
Crown, tongue and groove, beaded or V-groove. We got 1x stock in every dimension. We got 5/4 stock in every dimension. Historic sill, which is right off the shelf, so we pretty much have everything we need.
So you guys didn't have to mill that up. You can
Didn't
buy
have to
that.
mill it, right?
And you got the lengths you need too? You
Yep.
get 12s and 16s?
12s and 16s.
Nice, all right. So, I mean, it's primed obviously, but why isn't this stuff rotting like regular pine?
Well, the secret is in the process. This is a chemically injected, pressure-treated process with a solvent-based preservative that goes right to the core of the lumber. And it's kiln dried, then 2 coats of oil-based primer applied right in the factory. It comes to us ready for paint, very stable.
PT trim. All right, looks like you guys are starting with the sill.
We're going to start with the sill. Okay, we're just going to put a 45 on this outside corner at the intersection of where our casing meets the sill. Okay, now we're going to reverse the angle, 45 degrees the other way. And same thing, we're going to meet the intersection. Okay, so now we're just going to glue this return piece onto the end of our casing so that it continues back into the house. We're going to do that with a 2-part adhesive. Brian's going to put the 1 part on one side.
So this is going to be a real quick set, and we're not going to have to shoot a nail even
That's
with
correct.
this. Nice.
That's correct. That's the nice part about it. We're not sliding around.
Now we're going to spray the activator on the other side. And then once you set it, it sets very fast. You have about 5 seconds before it sets, and you're not moving it at all. So you got to make sure that that miter is just how you like it.
Okay, so now we'll do the other side.
So we got to make sure we get full coverage. Then we take our activator. Just like that. Perfect.
Okay, now we can cut our legs. Okay, so now we're going to drill for our pocket screws. Okay, we own it.
We own it.
Fits pretty good down here. How about up there?
I like it. Okay, we're just going to drive it in with an 8-penny ring shank nail.
So here you're just face nailing it. If we were using a PVC, you might pre-drill, screw, and then fill it with a bung?
Yeah, absolutely. So that instead, we're just going to use regular stainless steel ring shank nails, and then we fill it with exterior wood fill.
Do that all day long with pine.
Yep.
All right, well, definitely easy to work with, being pine and all. I mean, it looks good, almost ready for paint, right?
Yeah, we just run our crown up to the soffit, and we're on to finishing the rest of them.
Terrific. All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
We've reached the point in our project where the HVAC expert becomes the artist. We've roughed in our plumbing, we've got all the ductwork installed, air handlers in place, and now it's time for the grand master to complete his masterpiece, the mechanical room. Abe Byler is staring at the blank wall which housed the distribution equipment for this whole building. So Abe, how do you get started on laying these systems out?
It all starts with a nice new wall. They frame it up for us, we paint it gray, so it's nice and neat.
Okay.
Then we hang the boiler.
Great.
It all starts there. Then we lay out all the circulators, all the components, so down the road, It's easy for someone to come in here and know what goes where.
So it's logical and also can be serviced 20 years from now.
That's right.
All right, so the system starts with a boiler right here. This is a gas-fired boiler. It's going to take air from outside through a pipe and then exhaust out through here. So you can see inside our unit right here some of the components. There's a gas valve right here that mixes air and gas together into this heating boiler right here. There's a super efficient control right here that is easy to use like a touchpad. Now what happens is flue products go down into this heat exchanger. This is actually the boiler heat exchanger right here. So here's a cutaway. The whole unit is stainless steel. And this is the combustion chamber right here. Flue gas drives down here. It's completely surrounded by water down here. Water will circulate this way. When the burner's on, that super efficient burnt gas pushes down through these small tubes right here. And as it goes down, all the heat gets squeezed out into the water that's right here. And by the time it gets to the bottom, there's not much left except a little bit of condensate and very little temperature going out through the exhaust flue. So now, if we make hot water, what are we going to do with it? Well, one important load is to make water for faucets, the plumbing. We're going to use an indirect hot water tank. And indirect, as its name suggests, means there's no direct flame, not like a gas water heater. This thing uses the boiler's power. The way it works, it starts with a stainless steel tank that's filled with cold water. And then there's a coil right here that boiler water is pumped through. Heat goes to cold, heats up the water for the faucets. It's super insulated. It also doesn't have an exhaust flue right here to cool off the water in the tank. So hot water is covered. Now we have to think about the heating, or the distribution to the heating inside the building. So here's the manifold that Abe has begun. Some important components on this. It starts with the dirt and air separator right here. We want to be sure no air or dirt is circulating through all the distribution. And a very important component is proper control valves. In the future, it needs to be serviceable, so control valves, shutoff valves are important. I also want to call out these circulator pumps. They're insulated completely and really smart, so they're super efficient. The flow actually changes according to what the building needs, and that saves about 80% electricity over conventional pumps. Each circulator pump sends heated liquid to a different zone or load in the building. Now, heated water goes up to an individual air handler and passes through a coil, much like an automobile radiator. At the same time, there's a fan which blows air across that coil, picking up temperature and sending that heated air into the ductwork system for that zone. The water that came from the boiler is now cooler, and it returns back to the boiler through a return pipe where the cycle repeats and the water is heated again. The air handler does double duty. In the summer, we use it for cooling. Outside the building, there's a condenser unit, and that's filled with chemical refrigerant. Now, inside the condenser, there's a compressor, and that compressor can compress that refrigerant. When it does, it makes it a warm liquid. That warm liquid will be pumped inside the building to the air handler. Inside the air handler, there's another coil called an evaporator, and that has a little valve in it called an expansion valve. When that expansion valve opens, that refrigerant gets incredibly cold. Now air from the building is passed across that coil, and heat has to go to cold. So what happens is it gets absorbed into the refrigerant. When it does, it leaves cool air going into the building, and the heat you've extracted returns back through the return piping back to the condenser, where a fan blows across it to dump heat to outside, and then the cycle repeats. So we have one more mission for our mechanical panel here. You might remember that we have radiant heating in our garage floor. Now, the water that we would use from the boiler for making water hot for the faucets or the air handlers would be way too hot to go into that concrete slab. So we need some way to temper it down. Heated water from the boiler goes through a special mixing valve, which allows a little bit of that water to blend with the water that's in the radiant loop, thereby making that water temperature in the radiant just the right temperature to make sure the cars and the people who live in the suite above very happy.
You've heard a lot about the tight budget on this project, and our homeowners are trying to save as much money as they can. One of the things they're doing is trying to save the original plaster. You can see here that originally it was lath with plaster on top, and on some jobs this would have been demoed and replaced, but not on this one. The other thing that our homeowners are trying to do to save money is pitch in with our crew. Hey Joe, hey Mauro.
Hey Kevin.
So on the second floor, we were able to save a lot of the plaster, Joe, original. You like that?
Yes, yeah.
Although the electricians had to move outlets and switch boxes around, they left us with some holes that need to be patched.
That's right. So it's too hard to cut a piece to fit the hole. What we're gonna do, we're gonna cut a hole to fit the patch. So what we're gonna do is a 3/8 blue board. We're gonna trace all the 4 sides with the pencil. Okay, lines are done. Now we're gonna use my utility knife so we can cut the plaster around.
Oh, there it goes.
Well, see? The plaster's coming right off, nice and clean. Look at that. Perfect. Because we have the lat, we're gonna use the piece and screw it right in.
Okay.
And if we didn't have the lat, if this was, say, drywall, we would still oversize the hole, stick in a piece of strapping, secure it to the wall, and then the patch to the strapping.
So this is much easier.
And to cover the cracks, we're gonna use a mesh tape, a drywall tape. Just goes like that. Use my utility knife again to cut it. Then we go over here at the top. Once again, just press lightly.
It's got a little adhesive back there, help it stick.
Yes, the adhesive on the back of this tape will help to stick to the blue board and the existing plaster. Now it's time for some joint compound. Nice and easy. Don't need to put a thicker coat. We're gonna use like a 2 or 3 very thin coats. We're gonna build up to make it nice and clean looks. First coat's done. It's gonna take a few hours to dry. 2 more coats to go. Okay. We got a lot of holes to patch. Let's get going.
All right,
Let's do it.
Downstairs.
Okay, Joe, press the knife a little bit more. Oh, easy, easy, yeah. We don't want to break what we don't have to. As it fits, make sure that's all nice and clean. Perfect.
All right.
That looks good. All right.
So the 4 corners?
One on the corner. A little bit further up.
There?
Yep, yep. That's good. That's good. Those goes one shot.
Okay, Mauro, what do you think? Is he good enough to join your crew?
It looks good. It's part of the crew now, Kevin.
I'm sure that's reflected in the bill.
I'll do that.
All right. Well, it is time to start laying down our new hardwood floors. So next time, I'm going to the factory to see them fabricated. Until then, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Joe Delfino.
And I'm Mauro Henrique.
For This Old House. Next time on This Old House.
These 6x6 columns get trimmed for a finished look.
There's a forest in Pennsylvania where all the hardwood flooring for our house comes from, and all of it was harvested sustainably.
We're not planting any of that. It's naturally regenerating. So we're just helping it out by allowing the sunlight now to come reach it.
That is some good looking stuff right there.
And I'm going to try a new way to install stair treads. That's next time on This Old House.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.